He's made some mistakes in the past, but who here among us has not?
Among Us!
I think celebrity cameos are perfectly fine in Star Wars. It's nice to see a familiar face that you would have never guessed would be starring in a galaxy far, far away. The problem is the appropriateness of that cameo. Does that celebrity fit the role of the character? Do they fit the tone of the story? Are they actually good actors? These are all questions Jon Favreau recently decided do not matter at all. Last year, Jack Black and Lizzo made their debut in Star Wars, and if we're being honest, it kinda sucked. It was kinda cute at first, and then they just kept showing up in the story, and they were really overstaying their welcome. I'd excuse this if Jack Black and Lizzo fit the characters they were playing, but they really don't? Jack Black is usually good at playing characters who are incredibly kooky, and he does not fit the role of a prime minister who's noble and used to be part of an imperialist regime. I tried to imagine Hugh Grant or Jim Broadbent playing this character, and I think they would have been far more appropriate. And while Jack Black can act, the same can't go for Lizzo. She is horrendous in this show and this role, and has no right acting whatsoever. I'm sure she's a nice person in real life. Oh, wait! The problem also arises with the focus being taken away from the plot of the episode, which has halted the story in favor of just having a celebrity guest star. The focus should be on Bo-Katan and her conflict with xoxo. This should have been the entire episode, but instead they spent so much time on banquets, and squabbling, and space croquet, and CGI dresses, and come! You know what would have been a great episode? Stepping back and comparing Bo-Katan to the Prime Minister, a character who made mistakes in his life by working with the Empire, but is now a noble leader of his homeworld. Something Bo-Katan is attempting to achieve as well. The template for a perfect episode was there, but all of it was glossed over and over of going, "Hey look, it's Jack Black! I know who he is!" A cameo isn't fun when it's being shoved in your face. You want to know why people liked Freck? Because people didn't know Zach Braff played him in the episode when it came out. A performance being so good that you didn't know who it was goes to show the actor's talent. There's nothing impressive about an actor just playing themselves. Unless you're Bill Burr. Why don't we step back and look at cameos that do benefit a story? Let's pivot over to Book of Boba had a surprising amount of celebrity guest stars, and while I don't really love this show, all of the cameos were really well handled. The first one is honestly my favorite, and it's Danny Trejo as the Rancor Keeper. This is a cameo that is honestly completely appropriate. Danny Trejo is very good at playing grizzled badasses, so having him play the caretaker of a Rancor is a perfect marriage. It also helps that Trejo is giving a very nice performance, and he plays off of Tamir Morrison very well. It's also important to note that Boba is still the focus of this scene. While I wish we got more with his Rancor, this scene in particular is doing a good job of establishing the relationship with his new pet. Trejo doesn't overshadow the scene, to the point where I kinda wish we got to see more of him after the episode. Another episode of him helping Boba ride the Rancor and learning more about his origin would have been really welcoming. Sophie Thatcher also does a good job as Drash, although I do wish her character was a bit more out there, if you get what I'm saying. The mods are very odd inclusions because they're talked about as these insane nut jobs who modify their body parts with droid pieces, but then you meet them and they're like normal kids wearing punk outfits. If we got a bit more creative with their character designs, I probably would have enjoyed them a lot more, considering how committed Thundercat is to his performance. I just wish they were written to be a little more tongue-in-cheek, and I know that's more of an issue with the character writing. I know that Thatcher would have done a great job hamming it up, because she's a very talented actress, given her work in Yellow Jackets and The Boogeyman. With what she's given already, though, she's done a pretty good job cementing herself in this universe. I did write a whole section on Timothy Olyphant as Cobb Vanth, but I don't really know if he qualifies as a cameo, since he's more of a mainstay in the story, and also, I don't think I need to justify how amazing this casting choice is. Let's look at some characters that I think were pretty good on paper, but could have used some more work in the oven. The Bad Batch had a wide array of celebrity guest stars, like Ernie Hudson and Noshir Dahal, but I'm not really going to talk about them because they were actually cool. Let's talk about Sid, played by Rhea Perlman. Now, I have nothing against Perlman as an actress. In fact, I would go as far as to say that she's an incredibly talented actress. However, I'm not sure if she's a good voice actress. Physical acting and voice acting are very different things. Those who are good with physical performances may not be great with just expressing themselves vocally. Just look at Sebastian Stan.
Who are you supposed to be? Queen of England?
I do think Perlman fully embodies Sid as a character, and I wouldn't imagine any other actress playing that character, but I'm not really sure if her performance reflects that. I think if Sid was a real person in a live-action project, Perlman would have probably done an immaculate job. Another character I'm mixed on is Haja from Kenobi, which as a whole had some very odd casting decisions. Some were absolutely flawless, like reprising Hayden Christensen as Darth Vader and Vivian Lyra Blair as young Leia, and others were downright laughable, like not having Jason Isaacs play the Grand Inquisitor. Haja is played by Kumail Nanjiani, who for some reason is always typecasted as a scoundrel who's only out for money and his own well-being, and takes the whole story to learn that there's more to life than that. That's cool, but can we give this guy any other role? I'm kind of sick of it at this point. Haja is definitely the most stomachable execution of this trope, and Kumail does give off a very energetic performance, but one thing I dislike is how he keeps showing up when the story doesn't require it. He doesn't really do anything in the final 2 episodes aside from remind us that he is in fact still in the show, follows Obi-Wan Kenobi around, and makes jokes that belong in a Z-tier Marvel movie.
That was underwhelming.
You're a stupid man! A stupid man!
If this character was used just a little bit less, I probably would have liked him more, and it comes down to the issue of a celebrity cameo overshadowing the major story. I also think Flea's character is just around a bit too much, and he's kind of distracting in this show, but he does fit the role he's given, and he is relevant to the story. And to be fair, Haja isn't nearly as bad as Jack Black and Lizzo, but there is that lingering impression that he just doesn't belong. In conclusion, if you're going to write a celebrity cameo into your story, the cameo should be appropriate. Don't just include them for the sake of including them. Have your role reflect their past film roles, or have their personality actually suit the character they're playing. Treat it like you're casting any other character in your story. A very wise and sexy man once said,
But your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think if they should.
I am begging you, John. Please take his advice.